Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So, today we are going to take a look at just a couple of the new online exclusives from Stampin' Up. So, these online exclusives will be released on Tuesday, March 5th. So, I'm just going to take you through two of the different online exclusives. There's many, many more. But I have a couple of card ideas that I want to share, which feature products from the new Flowering Zinnias collection. And so this particular collection has paper and embellishments and a little bundle here. So this is the bundle that I'll be using. It's called Simply Zinnia, and it has just some really beautiful floral images in it. And then there's also a coordinating die set that goes with this set. So we'll be using this set to create the flowers for the card. But then I'm also going to be using the textured timber. So I'm actually going to show you how to make these two cards right here. And the textured timber has just a variety of really fun wood grain images in it that you can use in your card making. So that's what I'll show you today. I'll just show you, I'll walk you through these two cards and show you how to use that textured timber. And then we'll just add the little flowering zinnias in there. And then I will also show you some additional card ideas. I actually have, I think, 10. So I'll give you a little sneak peek on my tutorial for this month, which features the Simply Zinnia. All right, so we will walk through a couple of cards, and then I'll show you a bunch of different samples featuring this particular set here. All right, so these are the cards that we're going to create, and I just really love this new um, stamp set. I used this particular image, this big image here, but there's, of course, four other images that you can use. So this is one of the new online exclusives. So it's not available yet, but I'm just giving you a little preview. So let's just walk through how to create these cards. So I'm going to start with this one. As soon as I saw it, I just kind of thought of a fence, and then I put my flowers on a fence. So that's what I did. In card making, you can do whatever you want, right? So the first thing I want to do is just kind of show you how I colored the flowers. So I just stamped them using early espresso ink, and then I just stamped it on white cardstock. And then what I did is I colored them in with a variety of watercolor pencils. So I have some older watercolor pencils, so I still have the rich raspberry, but you can use, any colors that you want. I just kind of went with these. But basically, I just colored all of the flowers. So I'm going to try to color them fairly quickly because what I want you to see is how I blended everything. So sometimes when you're coloring with the pencils, you can see all the little pencil lines when you color. So I'm going to show you how to blend those. So we'll use, I think this is Daffodil Delight. So we'll use this one. And I notice how I just kind of color kind of sloppy. But that's okay because what I'm going to show you will take care of all my little sloppy coloring here. So we'll add that. And then this one is pumpkin pie. So we'll add this one here. So you can kind of see, maybe you can't. Hopefully you can kind of see the lines in here as I color. And that's one of the things about the watercolor pencils is that, um, they color in nice, but you can still see the coloring lines. So we'll take care of that in just a minute. Let's add a little bit more purple here. And then we'll just add some old olive to this particular part of the flower. A lot of little leaves to color. And notice how as I'm coloring, I'm not necessarily coloring in the entire image. I'm just kind of adding color, a little bit in the center of the image. All right, just a little bit more. I know I debated about, should I show you guys how to color this or not? We'll add this here and then we'll color this. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So we'll get these pencils out of the way. And what I did, I'm gonna grab a little grid paper here maybe so you can see it a little better. Let's move this out of the way. So what I did is I just used a blender pen, and the blender pen has two different brushes here on it. And I just used that to soften the colors. So to soften like the lines. So it's filled with like a little liquid in here. So you just kind of go over and it'll soften these lines, and then it'll bring out the color a little bit more. So any of the areas that you didn't color, you can just kind of pull color into it. And then to clean it, you just kind of wipe it off on a piece of scrap paper. So I like using the blender pen a lot with the watercolor pencils because it just really blends everything nicely. Hence the name blender pens. So you can already see the difference between these flowers, and then you'll really notice a difference with the purple. It'll get really dark. And then you just pull the color all around and fill in all those spots that you may have missed. And that's the purple one. And then you could do the same with the stem. I'll just quickly go through and do this, and then we'll put our little fence together. And we'll add a little bit there. So you guys get to watch me color today. I usually don't do that because I know it takes up a little bit of time, but I thought this was important for you guys to see just how this blends together. All right, so that is basically how I colored the flower. I can get it up here. And so you can see it takes away, those coloring lines. Probably could blend a little bit more in here, but for sake of time, I'll just leave it as is. So you just get a really beautiful floral out of it. And I use the Simply Zinnia dies just to cut this out. So when I originally stamped it, I cut it out right away. All right, so let me show you how I created this little fence. So I just cut a variety of different shapes here. So I have a let's see, this is 3/4, I believe. Before I tell you, I should probably make sure. But it is, yeah. So it's 3/4 inches wide, and it's about 5 inches long. And I cut four of them, and this is just crumb cake cardstock. And then what I did is I created a little template for myself, so that I could create the top part of the fence. So I just kind of played around until I got a fairly decent looking point here. And then all I did is just use this as a template. So I just kind of lined up my paper, and then I just cut here. Oop, let's keep it together. Cut there and there. So I just made a template out of, one of the pieces. And that's what I used to make all of the tops of the fence kind of look um, straight, similar. So you can make a template for yourself with just a scrap piece, of cardstock or something. So that's basically how I created the tops. Just made that little template. Let's get these pieces out of here. And then I used some pecan pie. So this is crumb cake cardstock that over here. And then I'm using some pecan pie just to stamp uh, the wood. So let's get this. I got to move some stuff here. Hang on. All right, so this is the image that I'm using. So I just inked it up with the pecan pie, and then I just went over the top. And then you get a nice wood grain on there. And I'm not worried too much about the bottom because the bottom's going to get covered up. So we'll put another one here. So you just kind of go along and stamp these. You can create some really fun little wood pieces for your card. There's another one, and here's our last one. So there's 4 pieces. They are 3/4 by 5 inches long. So that's those 4. And then I cut 2 additional pieces, and I just cut those straight. So these are a 1/2 inch wide, and they're 3 3/4 inches long, and those are the pieces that are going to go right here. So we'll stamp these right away. And then we'll do our other one. All right. So those are the main pieces for our fence. And you can make the fence any size you want. I just made it so that it would fit on a portrait style card. And then actually I need my ink here. The next thing I did is I just used a sponge dauber, and I just kind of went around and added some ink just to kind of give it a little worn look. So you just brush it on, sponge it on, daub it on, whatever the technical term is. But it just really, I think it really highlights the stamped image on here. Just kind of brings it out a little bit more. You know me and my rustic kind of style. I like that. And it's pretty quick to do, so this way I'll see if I can read some of your comments as I'm doing this. Yeah, I haven't used watercolor pencils in a long time, so I always use the Stampin' Blends, but this time I decided let's do something different because you guys always watch me use the Stampin' Blends. So, and those blender pens are actually older blender pens. They're not, I haven't bought any in a while, so they last for quite some time. All right, we're almost done with this. Let's see. We're gonna go around here. And then I gotta wipe the ink off my thumb. All right, last one. So you can already see the difference, just how nice it looks with this little bit of ink on the side. All right, so those are done. I gotta wipe the ink off. Just wipe it on my pants. Oh, apparently I got it all over myself. All right, well, let's try to put this together. So I just put it on a piece of white cardstock. I wanted my fence to just kind of stand out in the background. And so what I like to do is just kind of lay out my pieces first. And I stamped, you might notice that I stamped I kind of turned the image. So for a couple of them, I stamped it this way. So you can see the image is a little different. And then the other two, I turned the image and stamped it, so that it was, so I got a different kind of look. So they all didn't look the same, I guess. So we're just going to mix these up in between here. And we want them fairly close together. So let's see. And we're going to adhere them kind of off the bottom. Let's just make sure our piece fits, and that looks good. So we can start adhering them. So we're just going to adhere these first. I recommend laying your pieces out like I did so that you kind of have an idea of how they're going to go. And I just moved them all, but we're just going to adhere these right next to each other. We'll leave just a little bit of space in between. Maybe a little bit more. So once you get the first piece in, then you're good to go. I'll put that one right about there, maybe. And you don't have to be too particular about, aligning them up on the bottom. I'm a little off, but that's okay. It's a card. All right, so that is the basic design. And then what I did is I took before I added those other pieces on top, I took a 1.5 by 4.25. So it's 1.5 inches wide, 4.25 inches long. And then of course I did my little paper tearing just to kind of create the illusion of grass. Plus I needed a place to stamp my green. So this is going to go across the bottom here like that. But I already, for sake of time, I already have my little greeting stamped on there. So we're just going to add this right across the bottom. So I'm going to add some dimensionals on here. So I wanted to add this piece first, just to make sure that I didn't put my other pieces of the fence, make sure I don't put those on too low. So we're going to add this. So that goes on the bottom. And then we have our little fence pieces that are going to go on the top here. So let's add some dimensionals to those. So you can see it's pretty easy to create the fence. It just takes a little bit of time just to put everything together. But once you get everything together, then it has a really cool look. So we'll just add a bunch of dimensionals, stabilize our fence here. All right. So we'll add this one towards the top. And that's where it's going because it's stuck. And then this one towards kind of the middle, I guess, towards the bottom a little bit. Let's go here. All right, so there's our fence. So pretty easy. And then, of course, we have our flowers already that I colored. So we'll just add these. And basically what I'm going to do is just add some dimensionals in the center here because these will get tucked underneath there. So we'll add 2 little dimensionals. And then we'll add a little bit of glue up here. So let's tuck that in there. And that is our card. And now I got to grab my little dots. I have these little rustic dots. And I used just a couple of them. Whoops. to just kind of add to the fence. So we'll just add like here and here and then down on the bottom. All right, so that is how I created that card. Isn't that a fun card? I did not use a die set to cut out the fence. So this video will be recorded. So if you guys missed how I put the fence together, I did not use any dies. I just cut this out. I cut all these pieces out with my paper trimmer. And then I just created the little fence posts with my scissors. So the rest of the fence is all stamped with this textured timber. So that's how I stamped the fence. All right, so that is the first card that I wanted to show you. And then the second card, I'm going to show you how to make this style fence. So it's not really a fence, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I thought it was kind of cool. So I'll show you how I created this. And I'm going to create it, well, I'll just show you how I did this. So I started with a 4 by 5¼ inch piece. That's what the wood is stamped on here. And I need my scrap paper. So the first thing I did is I took that big image, I'm using the same image that I used for the fence. So this big wood image, and getting all full here, and just stamped it as close to the center as I could. So I'm just eyeballing it, I'm not measuring it. So we'll stamp that in the center. And then I just turned my piece of cardstock. So this is crumb cake cardstock. I don't think I told you that. Oh, I'm getting all full of ink. Look at that. It's all over the place. So then I just turned it and then I stamped off the side. So part of the image is going to overlap. It's going to go off the edge of the paper. But I'm going to try to get as close as I can here. Might have gone a little low. There's one. And then we'll do the other side. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just add it off the side. There we go. All right. So that is actually the background. Let me show you this card. So that's actually this background right here is what I just created. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you another little design. We'll use the exact same kind of design, but I'm going to actually use an embossed flower to decorate the card. So I embossed this on some early espresso cardstock. So it's going to be the same layout as this one. I'm just going to show you just a little different twist on it. So before we add this to our card front, I'm just going to add some ink down the side here. You don't have to worry about adding ink on the bottom because we're going to cover that up with some more wood pieces, the bottom or the top. So let's see if I can add a little bit of ink across some of the wood. Okay, that looks good. All right, so we're going to adhere this to the card front. And I'm using early espresso for the second card. For the card base, for this card base, I used cake. So either one is fine, depending on which flower you're going to do. So we'll add that. And then I already did these pieces, so you didn't have to watch me do them again. But these pieces, for this card, these pieces are 3/4 inch wide, and they're 4 inches long For this card, it's still 3/4 inches wide, but I made it the full length of the card base, so it's 4 1/4. So 3/4 by 4 1/4 or 3/4 by 4. Either one. I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little different look, just some fun ways to kind of play around with this set. So we'll add these. And I'm just adding them to the top and to the bottom. All right, so we'll add this one up here. Right across the top, and then we'll add this one down on the bottom. And then for my greeting, I just used a 3/4 inch wide scrap piece and I stamped my greeting all the way over. So I'm just using early espresso ink there. And then I just used a scrap piece. I think this might be 2 inches. Let's see. It's about 2 1/4 inches. And this is 1 inch wide. And I'm just going to adhere these two pieces together. And we're going to create a little greeting here. Mat out the greeting. So I just left this long like this because what I want to do is I want to take this flower and I want to tuck my greeting under this section of the flower. So I want it to go like right about there, and then we'll adhere it to the card front. So I can cut off roughly about that much. And this is where our greeting's going to go. So it'll go like that. So we'll just flip this over and we'll add some dimensionals. And then we'll get this on the card. So I created this other one the same way. The only difference is that, like I said, I ran my pieces the full length of the card, but the concept for creating it is the same. Same way I did the greeting. I just used colored flowers instead of, kind of this monochromatic look. So we'll put this on here, and this is just gonna, this time I'm gonna leave this hang over the wood, and we'll just pop that up right in the center. So you have kind of two different, oops, sorry, I just knocked the whole camera. So you have kind of two different looks, but the same, it's the same kind of layout for these two. And then for this one, I decided just to put a couple little rustic uh, metallic pieces right there instead of doing it across the whole card. So I just kind of wanted to give you just a different layout. You can use either one. I'm partial to the pretty colors, but I do like the rustic look of this one as well. So whatever your preference is. So let me bring back some of these cards here. Let's see. So since I was kind of on the rustic kick, I also created this one. And I did a little bit of embossing in the background here with the new Flowering Zinnias embossing folder. So I'll show you that. This is the embossing folder with the Zinnia 3D embossing folder. So I used that in the background and then just kind of stuck with this rustic look here. So we'll put these out. And then of course, here's the little fence that I created. But then I wanted to just kind of show you, since I was kind of on the rustic kick here, I wanted to show you you don't have to create rustic style cards. There's some beautiful floral paper in the Zinnia collection. So that's what I used here, is this really pretty floral paper just to create some basic cards. This is just a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece between these two pieces. So 1 inch here and 3 inches here, both 5 1/4 inches long. Very simple card designs and just really pretty. But as you know, I like to put together a tutorial each month for anyone that decides they want to place an order through Stampin' Up. So if you use my host code, I send you the tutorial for free. So this month I'm focused on the Simply Zinnia collection. So these are just a couple examples of some of the cards that are in that I created for the tutorial. So I again used, the watercolor pencils. I used some other embossing folders that are in the online exclusives. So there's 6 cards total. So these, I think I got 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So these are the 6 cards that are in the tutorial that I created. And of course, then these are the cards that I shared with you today. So I just kind of wanted to give you a sneak peek of some of the cards I created for the tutorial, just kind of show you some of the fun things with this zinnia set. You guys know how much I enjoy creating with flowers. I just really love creating with flowers. So as soon as I saw this set and we were able to pre-order it, I grabbed it right away because it really is a pretty set. And I really love the look of it with the watercolor pencils. So all right, you guys. So I hope that inspires you. I hope that gets you excited about the new action, the new online exclusives that are coming out. There are a lot of new products that are coming out on Tuesday. So you will find those in the online exclusive section of the website. So when you go out to the Stampin' Up website, um, you can click on the menu and go right to the online exclusives, and you'll be able to see all of the things that are coming out. So this is just a couple. There's a really fun little latte set. So be creating with that next and sharing some fun ideas with you. So, all right. So I hope you enjoyed all these card ideas, and I hope you're excited about what's coming up. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you guys again next week. So take care, everybody.